In this video, I'll show you how to set up NGINX and CertBot through Docker Compose in order to get an A+ rating on the SSL Labs SSL report. And in this video, we'll use the Mozilla SSL configuration generator in order to get a nice starting point for our configuration. And then we'll utilize Let's Encrypt to create certificates through CertBot. And if you just want to take a look at the configuration, you'll find a link to a GitHub repository in the description box below. And in there, you'll find the configuration and a README file with all the commands needed to be executed in order to create the configuration we're making in this video. So if you want your NGINX server and the certificates to be as secure as possible, join me in this video and I'll show you how to make it happen. All right, let's log into the server. We're going to set the certificates and NGINX up on, and then in here, we'll just take a look at the documentation. So in the description box below, we find a link to the GitHub repository. Here's a GitHub repository called Common Services. And then we just find the HTTPS URL. We copy that one. And then we go back to our terminal and we type git clone and we paste in the link. Boom. And then we go inside this directory. And in here, there's a directory called SSL with NGINX and CertBot. So we navigate into that directory as well. Here you can see the Docker Compose file. It has the image for NGINX, it has the volume set up, it has the ports exposed, it has CertBot set up with the correct volumes as well. So right now we can just do Docker Compose pull to pull the images. And then we go into the GitHub repository again, and we go into the SSL with NGINX and CertBot directory. You can see there's a README file with all the steps needed to set up the certificates and set up NGINX with SSL. So the first step we're going to do is to go in config NGINX directory, and you see here there's example.org files, configuration files, and then we're just going to move them. Move www.example.org noslconf to my domain. It's pål-kristian.com-nossl.conf. I'm going to open that one up for edits, and then we're going to replace www.example.org with my domain name. That's $%s hash www.example.org. It's pål-kristian.com global. Yes. That's just a Vim thing for regular expression. Search and replace. And then we're going to do the same with the SSL configuration. We're going to move it to it's pål-kristian.com-ssl.conf. And then we're going to open this one. And then we're going to do the same string replace like that. And also need to update the resolver you see at the bottom here. So we're going to do sudo resolve.ctl status. And then we see current DNS server. We just copy that address. We open the file for editing again, and we replace the localhost address here with our current resolver. And since this is a two-step to get it up and running, we're going to just take the SSL configuration and move it one directory back so it's not read by NGINX. So in the first step, we're just going to have the no SSL option running. So we also go into public, and we take this example.org directory and move it to our domain name right there. And we're going to make a simple index.html file that just said it works, just to prove that it works. So now that we are ready, we can just run docker compose up-d. We can type docker compose logs-f, and then we see that NGINX is started. So now we're ready to request the certificates. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in the browser, and then we can see this command, generate certificate. We're going to copy this command. I'm going to go back to the terminal right here, and then we're going to paste it in. We're going to replace the email here with my email address. I'm going to change the domain at the end there with my domain name. And you change this to your domain and your email address. So I'm going to put these values and I'm going to hit enter. And then we're going to request the certificate and they're going to be generated and put on the correct places on this server. So there we go. Certificates are saved. Keys are saved. So if we go back to the documentation right here, we also need to run this to generate the Diffie-Hellman parameters. So I'm just going to copy this command. Then I'm going to go back to the terminal, paste this one in, make sure you're in the SSL with NGINX and CertBot directory. So the parameters are created in the correct spot. This will take about a minute or something, depending a bit on your CPU and machine setup. So once that's done, we're actually just going to move in the SSL configuration again. And then we can just restart Docker and check the logs, and we should be up and running on SSL with an A+ grade SSL Labs rating. So let's see, let's go back to the terminal right here. Okay, so now the Diffie-Hellman parameters is done. What we can do now is go back to config NGINX, and we're going to move the SSL configuration back inside the NGINX directory right here. So this one is ready. It's pointing to the public directory we just created. correct, pointing to the diffie-Hellman parameters. The paths to the domain is correct. Path to the SSL trusted certificate is correct. So what we do now is just go back to the base directory, and then we type docker compose down just to shut down NGINX, and up-d, and then we type logs-f, and we see that NGINX is actually up and running. So we go back to the browser right here, and we type it's pkamera.com, and boom, we have it works and it runs on HTTPS. So if you now go to SSL Labs right here, SSL text, we type in it's pkamera.com, we submit, then we gotta wait about a minute or two or something to get the report. What we can do while this is creating is we go back to the terminal right here, and then we see in the SSL logs that the SSL Labs made some requests to our server. And boom, there we go. A+ rating on SSL Labs SSL report. That's pretty nice. Pretty good and secure setup. So that's how you set up NGINX and CertBot through Docker Compose in order to get A+ graded SSL certificates from the SSL Labs SSL reports. If you have any questions about the setup, just let me know in the comment section below, and give it a like if you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, just hit the subscribe button. I make videos weekly here on YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed, and take care. See you next week.